morning, everybody. January 27, Monday morning. Sunny, partly cloudy Boca Raton, Florida. 77.9 degrees outside and 68.7 inside. Got a chilly little studio here on the 8th floor of Royal Palm Place, right above Chops. Yep. Kitties are taking a nap in the sunlight. Sorry, I'm a little late this morning. I had a internet connectivity issue. And if you troubleshoot for 15 to 20 minutes and get everything restarted, and, turn the network on and off, and then on again, to restart that. And it still wasn't coming clean. So I had to go back to the router and the last ditch, you go through the troubleshooting checklist. I kind of suspected I was going to have trouble with trouble getting this iPad up here working. And if it won't carry the Xfinity signal showing a delayed broadcast there. But everything is up and running. Just threw me back a half hours. So to give you a little show and tell today, we filled out our passport applications. I did. Maryland's behalf. It's 9:45. Because our passports expired in May. Can you believe it? They have everything all filled out. That's all I had to do. Get the picture taken. You gotta have a fresh picture. There's my passport card. So this is a nice government issued photo ID. TSA loves this. Gives a picture, gives your birth date, easy to see. When people throw up their driver's licenses, everyone's got a different driver license from a different state. The State Department sends you protective shield thingy. So you put your card in there. And I had this little passport jacket. The passport itself is a little different. So this is a new passport. The page here that shows your photo is now laminated. Front and back is laminated, real heavy, probably a 10 mil lamination. Of course, it has the typical perforations of your passport number, and all the pages of your passport is, drilled with this 9-digit, 10 alphanumeric. It's got an A, and then probably can't see it with the. I don't have this focused that close. But you get the photo here. It looks almost identical to the passport card, which costs you an extra $30. But yeah, it's good for 10 years. So I have to sign this. I'll get a suitable pen and sign that. They say not valid until signed. You can sign right here next to your picture. So I don't know how this lamination thing is. Attached to the book itself, but it is. Just leave it alone. Anyway, so that's what passports. Myself went to Maryland. It was relatively quick. They gave you a mailing address. Sent it to I think Austin, Texas. Is the passport facility that about 8 or 10 states that send it in to Austin, and then there's probably another address in Colorado, maybe address where you send in if you're in the Rocky States, Western. Oops, let me just get this in. So we watched the playoff game last night, the Buffalo-Kansas City game. That was, within 2 or 3 points, back and forth, all evening long. And the Chiefs came out ahead, So now the Chiefs will face the Eagles. Super Bowl 59, I guess it is. Yep. Yeah. LIX. That's a 50. LIX is 10 minus 1. 59. Next year, it'll be LX for 60. 50 plus 10 in the Roman numerals, which I don't know why they have Roman numerals, but they do. Keep on diddling with this little cube, which fits on a microphone. Like if you're interviewing somebody, it shows your logo. I was telling Brennan and reminding Marilyn last night that the 20 years that we took action sports photographs to the FAU team. After 20 years, we hung it up. I said, Marilyn, why are we doing this? Back in the early days of FAU football, sports, you took the pictures. I would give a copy to Katrina McCormick, the head of the sports information, department. And but as years went on, when we got into the last 4 or 5 years, FAU started to get cute, you know, the legal department. You know, with new coaches, they come in and they bring a book of the forms that they're used to. And it, you know, the latest form that I got sent, which they make you sign or else they're not going to give you you know, the credentials so you can be, you know, on the football field, you know, during the play, you know, of the game. And, yeah, the form basically said, you know, you can, these photographs that you take are ours. You can't do this and you can't do that. And, you know, here I'm taking the photographs, right? There are photographs. And I'm nice enough to give them the full copy of our high-definition sports information pictures. You know, I go through them, you know, the ones that Marilyn and I take. It usually amounts to, you know, between 500 and 800 high-quality, high-definition digital pictures, you know, that have been culled and that have gone through and did, you know, some digital enhancing, you know, getting them up to the right exposure, and the color was always pretty good. Didn't have to really adjust color, but you know, you want to make sure they're in good focus, you know. And then I go through and I bring to the front of the, you know, so now you got, let's say, 600 pictures. You've gotten rid of the 20 or 30 that are pictures of elbows and, you know, mistaken picture that ends up in the picture file, and you just have to go through and get rid of those. You know, the ones that are just out of focus for some reason. And then you bring up, you know, I used to bring up 40 or 50 what I would consider publisher grade quality sports shots. You know, that ESPN or, you know, any notable publisher. So after you've taken up pictures, you know what's publisher grade and what isn't. You know, there were in the last 8 or 10 years, there were at least 30 million pixels images. Could be 45 million pixel images. Anyway, but in the later years, they're saying, hey, these are ours. FAU, the form says these are ours, and you can't do this and you can't do that, and then. So the last form, you know, was really pushy on that point, that these are our photographs and not your photographs. You know, so the last form I signed and sent back to them, I changed one word so that you know, any competent reader of the form, the pictures were owned by us. We owned them jointly instead of I own them. FAU. No. But we didn't shoot this year. You know, it was hot. You know, it was like a 1 or 2 p.m. game in the afternoon. I says, Marilyn, really, are we going to do this? You know, I just don't feel like standing, you know, in a stadium, standing up for 3 or 4 hours. And the temperature is, you know, 95 degrees on the field. I don't need this. So, we had parking pass right there, in the parking garage that's right next to the stadium. Couldn't get closer. And so I just said, no. They didn't really care whether I took pictures or not. I never got any communication from them. They're too, what I would say is a little too big for their britches. The early days where they really appreciated photography. Then they have, they have all these student students that are actively interested in taking pictures. They would apply to the sports information department to take pictures. So they're all on there with their cameras. We always, outclassed them with equipment. We had the best equipment, money could buy. Every year, every 18 months, I would upgrade the equipment to the most modern. So the Canon cameras, now support a 45 million pixel imager. And the colors are just perfect, You rarely have to touch anything, with the color. Sometimes, the lighting, for example, the lights that these stadiums have are pure, 7,000 Kelvin degree lighting. So that's the color temperature. 8,000 degree Kelvin is pure white. So these lights, reach about 7,000 degrees Kelvin, which is a pretty pure white. It's not sunlight white. It is really, really close. Just a tad warmer than a 8,000 degree Kelvin is the highest color temperature. That's usable by the imager. So when you have a stadium that's 7,000 degrees Kelvin, you're in good shape. I remember we went up to New Orleans and took pictures in that stadium, and the lighting was terrible. It was like 4,500 degrees Kelvin, which is way too warm. So I had to readjust, all the pictures. It was really annoying. But, one time, we shot in the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana. So we had both of us got field passes to that game, and it's good. And FAU won the game with Coach Snellenberger. Yeah, and and everybody knew us, and the coach knew us, and we knew them, and we'd interview him with a microphone. Go ask him a couple of questions. Or we'd be standing there with the ESPN photographer, and we'd have our microphone right there. I had a boom microphone, so it's a very directional microphone. So instead, you don't have to really shove the microphone in their face. You can have it down a bit and aim that boom, right at their mouth or throat, and you get all the audio perfectly. Yeah, and you wouldn't, since they're so directional, all the noise in the stadium basically wouldn't be picked up by the boom mic. So it makes for a nice audio. I noticed that today when the cameras are, aimed at Trump, and he's being interviewed, and he always answers, 1,000 questions. So we always had boom mics. So even though you might be, 10 feet away from the person, 8 or 10 feet away, you aim that boom microphone right at the person. And, you pick up the audio from Trump, for example, and you wouldn't hear, the helicopter engines, that are whining in the background. Yeah. So I noticed the networks are now using the boom mics. Anyway, we're always on top of the technology stuff. Anyway, so, we packaged up the passports, took the pictures, from the local place, and we cut them up and attached them to the, stapled them to the application, with 4 staples, exactly where you had to staple the picture. Anyway, so black and white. So we packaged them up, we just put them in the mail. Yep, the mail. I'm pretty sure, I mailed them to a post office box. And, took them to the post office. Had to get the right amount of, I didn't want to guess on the postage. Buy stamps and put it on the envelope. No. I gave them the sealed envelope. Both our applications were in the same package. And, they got it within 3 or 4 days. They processed them in, 3 weeks or so. It was like 1 month turnaround. We didn't have a trip, so I left that blank. It's not like we were last minute Charlies, renewing our application right before a trip. We don't even have a trip planned, and we are travel ready. And got this nice little package. One thing they tell you to do is you keep the identification card in a different pocket where you have. I'm slipping it in here just until we get notice of our next trip. I'll probably embed it in my wallet cards. I have these little packages. I'll probably put it in. The red one is my Tesla card. I'll probably slip it in there. Yep, that's all I got. This is business card. I can take that out and put my, that's what I'm going to do. Take this out. Put that in there. There we go. Put this way. This is the key card. You log in your phone, you register your phone in your Tesla, and then your phone is your key. You say that 1,000 times. Your phone is your key. Your phone is your key. When you watch the videos how to use your car for the first time. And of course, I watch all the videos. Someone's got to do it. So I'm the technology guy. And I showed Marilyn how to use the car. This really really a snap. You gotta take, there you go. So now my password card is right in this thing. And that stays right. This is my debit card in one. This is my Cigna health insurance. And my debit card. $2 cash. It'll slip right in there. So when I go out somewhere, that's the package of identification, driver's license, you know. I'll just put that in there. There you go. So now we're ready to have a doctor's appointment on the 30th. This is Thursday. Thursday at 9:30. I had an appointment earlier in the month, but I wasn't feeling well, so I think I'll try to get that appointment moved up a couple of weeks, which I did. I'm ready to do my health insurance stuff. Brennan's scooter stopped running, and there's a 3-conductor cable which, you know, is connected to his headlight, a little tiny headlight up front, and that fell down off the support bracket. So I said, well, you gotta, so his scooter was, you know, operating or not operating. Well, apparently these 3 wires had some little ends on them, and they short-circuited, and the scooter wouldn't run. You have a turn handle for the throttle, and it wouldn't go. So I said, well, snip this wire real clean, and that'll probably do the trick, because there are probably a couple of these wires that are short-circuited with each other. So the scooter stopped running again a couple of days ago. So he said, I ran it in the rain. Well, it should be able to, you know, withstand rain. So this morning I was thinking about, you know, the fact that his scooter is, you know, not running. So I think this wire, which was connected to the headlight, you know, can't be short-circuited. So I told him to open up the cable, you know, peel down the black cover, expose these 3 wires, snip them clean so there's no conductor, wrap each one separately, you know, and you should be good to go. So I sent him those instructions this morning on a text message. So we'll see. My hand drew it. That's my hand drawing one. And I figured, I said, you know, I just did a Google search, you know, a cable with 3 conductors. And, you know, you get, it shows all the different cable and the colors and all that. So I just wanted to show him what I was talking about. So that's how that turned out. There's the conductor. Here are my instructions. Who did that? Yeah, you know, 1, 2, 3, and you're done. And then there's the color diagram. It shows what he needs to do. So that was I think he's off today. Monday and Wednesday this week, I think. He can diddle the fact on this scooter. I'll check with him later in the day and see if he's accomplished that. And if it rendered the progress, it won't run. So, should be able to handle rain. Go back to the photos. All right, so the president of Colombia was giving the Air Force or the military some pushback on whether they were going to take, the illegals that we caught in our country because of the open border. So these are people that actually committed crimes in the U.S. Assault or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. So Trump sent a text message on his Truth Social, which everybody looks for, all over the world, watching what Trump has to say. So he basically told the president of Colombia, you accept these repatriates from the U.S. or else we're going to stick your country with a stiff tariff on anything that you think you're going to export to the USA. There'll be a 25% tariff attached to it. And we'll be looking for payment on any import items that we receive from your exports. So he called back and he says, oh, absolutely, we'll accept the repatriates from the U.S. So that ended that. So we'll have to go through that for a few countries, as Peter Hegseth, aides with the DHS and so forth in their efforts to trap and arrest and incarcerate these illegals and, put them in bunches and put them on our transport jets. You got a whole inventory of jets that send troops all over the world as they're needed. Oops. So, Peter Hegseth is now, in the Pentagon. He was just answering questions, 30 minutes ago. Yep. So, that's kind of amazing. There's a vote on Peter Hegseth. There's a 50-50 vote. And Vice President Vance had to come in and vote affirmative to break the tie. That's the only vote he gets, is an affirmative vote. Because you don't break the tie with a negative vote, because if it's 50-50, the motion doesn't pass. You got to have a majority. So if you don't have a majority, it hasn't happened. So you don't need Vance to vote negative, because 50-50 means the motion didn't carry. You got to have 50 plus 1. There's 100 senators, so you need 51-49. If it's 50-50, then you need advance to vote in the affirmative. And Rubio, our new Secretary of State, think of that. We met Rubio in the Obama presidential election with standing right next to us. He's being interviewed by, we had a booth right next to, like PBS, public broadcasting. And it was so we were one booth away from the main Republican booth, where all the networks are interviewing. Crap. That's my prescription. And I need to bring this into, I have it in my photo library, so I'll show it to Thomas Lubin. 3 times a day. You fill the prescription, say 1 time a day. I said, well, that's not right. That's a typo or something. So I got to straighten that out on Thursday, which is no big deal. Trump paves the way for immigration officials to deport migrants that Biden allowed in the USA. So the Department of Homeland Security is giving support to, our agents in the field that are trapping these bad guys. And each major city, major or minor city, has a sheriff's department or whatever, and they know where, they're patrolling their neighborhoods. So they know where the bad guys are. So they round them up, and our HHS people, Department of Homeland Security. We got hundreds of thousands of migrants that are going to get plain. They're going to be, they'll all be transported to, the military air bases around the country, and they'll fill up the planes, and they get their flight path set, and they fly them out. And, for rapid deportation. Yeah. So you're, what they call ICE agents, immigration and naturalization, ICE agents. Will partner with the, the local sheriff's department, their or police department in the major cities. In the minor cities, they use the sheriff's departments, which is the Cadillac Police Department. So we have to spend the money to get rid of these. If you don't, you got to feed them, you got to educate them, you put them through school, you got to permit them to be in your hospitals. To, if they get sick or they break their arm or whatever the heck happens to them, their kids, whatever. I mean, it's a mess. So you got to get them out. You can't afford, our society can't afford, those. I mean, the expenses, hundreds of billions of dollars. So granted, it might take you 70. I don't know what the number is. Whatever cost it is to get them out is cheaper than taking care of them, for a lifetime. When do they find? When do they start paying for their own medical bills? Never. They just show up to the hospital, and the hospital, where the rules are, they basically take care of them in the emergency room. It loads up. You got to have extra staff to accommodate all these extra people that are not U.S. citizens. No country, takes care of illegal immigrants. If you travel with a regular passport, they stamp your passport with a 30-day visa. When you tell the immigration people at the airport, you tell them that vacationing for 2 weeks in Germany, whatever, Spain. Well, then they stamp a 30-day visa on there. When you get off the airplane and you're, in the airport in Spain, you go by an immigrations official, from Spain. He's sitting there, looks at you. What are you doing here, Mr. Wilson? Well, I have a business trip? No. It's a vacation. So you tell him it's a vacation with the family. So, and he looks at you, he looks at the passport, he feeds the passport in a machine he's got, and knows how to electronically read it. And then there's a search done to see if there's a warrant out for your arrest or anything like that, to see if your passport is valid, number one. That all happens, within a couple of minutes when you go to the counter, when you're facing the immigrations official for Spain, the country of Spain, when you land in Madrid, you can't get out of the airport until you get by that fellow or lady. It's not an issue if your papers are okay, and if your passport is valid and not expired and all that kind of stuff. You can. It's relatively easy to get out of our country, but it is not easy to get back in if your documentation isn't right. If your passport expired 2 years ago, and usually the airport will look at your documentation and tell you, you can get into Madrid, but your passport has expired, and you're likely not to be able to get a visa, when you, from Madrid. So do you really want to spend, the $600 ticket per person, and then you'll be, rejected, and you'll get bounced back to the USA, never get in Madrid, the paperwork, the passports are serious business. So got to be updated. Password is a little new and different. Yeah. This one page, which would be page, the cover. They got, a diagram here. The person that's shipping out somewhere. It's kind of a nice picture on the inside cover, but your passport is shiny. You can see the shine, yeah. And you got the different reflective looks of your picture. Got one of the little seals on it. It's micro encoded with a number. It's the actual passport number, which is nine digits and an A in front. Well, that's micro printed on the border of your picture. Also, you got a few little things on here that make it difficult for anybody to copy it. Make a phony passport. All these fancy digital printers I got these days. Well, they have, special paper. There's this perforation. That's quite a machine that stamps the perforated passport number through all the pages. This has got lots of pages and lots of travel. We haven't gone anywhere since the trip that we had for when I won 2 years in a row, be one of the top 10 salespeople out of,
it's 10:30.
20 or 30,000 salespeople across the country for a Ritz camera. Yeah, sold more cameras than anybody else. Not number one, you have to be in the top 10. And then they give you, anyway, those years, all expense paid trip to, you fly to Los Angeles one year, and then you get on a cruise ship, and you take a trip, down the west coast of Mexico. And the next year, we flew into Galveston and picked up a cruise ship going down the east coast, of the, going down the Yucatan Peninsula on the east side. It was interesting. We'd get off the ship and walk around a little bit, stay with the crowd, so to speak. Don't go off into the areas that are, it's carefully marked. And if you walk outside the area that you're relegated to go, you might get encountered by, there might be an encounter with a local resident, of the country. And, I had fancy camera equipment. And they were eyeballing me one time. We got a little distracted and went off the beaten way about 500 steps in the wrong direction. And I said, Marilyn, there are 3 people over there, 2 guys and a girl, and they're eyeballing us, and we are all by ourselves. There's no one else. So we took a turn we shouldn't have taken. We needed to get back to the crowd, or else I may get bumped over the head, beaten up, and they run off with our camera stuff. Let's not do that. Then you got Honduras police, and oh my God. So that was a little scary. So we did an about face, and we walked rapidly back in the proper direction. Yeah, they have it marked. You got lines in the street. They were a little worn off. So we just got distracted and let's see this building, let's see that building, and oh my God, we're off into the hinterlands of a goofy country like Honduras. They don't have rules like we do, and the people are, and I fight back. No way someone's going to walk off with my camera shit. I'd have to get beaten up a little bit before I give that stuff up. So we avoided any confrontation and got back to where we belonged, and that was the end of that. At least we got to a bar, and had a couple of cocktails, sat there, and people watched. And then I said, Merrill, let's get back to the ship. They had like 6 o'clock. I think we were scheduled for like a 6 o'clock dinner. So we made sure we made it in time for our dinner. And the Royal Caribbean lines has very nice patrons, I'll say. There we go. Just do a little photo shopping of that image. There we go. Let's brighten it up a tad. There we go. Let's turn. There we go. Now it looks crisp and clear. That was a 50-50 vote. It's like 9:30 Friday evening. And then Vance hurried up, got over there, and cast the tie-breaking vote. Let's see what time that was. This image. Anyway, this is a print screen of the Senate floor at 9:39 p.m. Yeah. I was looking at that. It looks like 7:39 Mountain Time. So I guess that compares. Yeah. Over here in the bottom left corner, you can see the edges of some digits on this Fox News. It shows the time in 3 or 4 different time zones. You got Central Time, then you got Mountain Time, and then you got Pacific Time. So that's 7:39 p.m. Mountain Time. So you can see the senators all hobnobbing around in there. And this lady right here, she's the one that takes the votes. Yeah. Marks it off with that pen. 50-50. Everybody voted. He was a tough one because he had some character issues with his past, in 2017, 2018. He had two different girlfriends at two different times, and he had a very serious, contentious divorce. So he had a divorce going on. He had a pregnant girlfriend, and then another girlfriend. So he had two girlfriends and a wife that he was divorcing. And all of that was coming together in that 2018 period. When the Democrats got a hold of that information, they made it sound like this is Jack the Ripper, And then one girl, 5 days after an encounter in his hotel room, 5 days later, she files, an action with the police department in Southern California. And they investigated for 4 days and did not charge him with any, anything with regard to this female that offered herself up as a victim, of aggressive who knows what. So it wasn't a rape claim. I don't know. It was like an assault claim. But the police, after what you would say fully investigated it, chose not to file, not to prosecute him for any wrongdoing. So that was that. But, it's in the public record, and, when you're a Republican and you're trying to be confirmed with the Senate, some of them are, hooty-footy, perfect backgrounds. And, so Peter had a little wrinkle in his background with that stuff. It just gave the Democrats some fodder to deal with. And, who knows? I have a feeling Peter did not disclose these troubles 8 years ago, on his form that they fill out for, is there anything else we should know? Well, he didn't list this as a potential issue. So, which means that when everybody started, the FBI investigation, and this stuff pops up, and the transition team was basically caught with their pants down. They didn't realize, this was in his background. So, that's always a problem. These people want the position so bad, they try to just misremember, and decide not to disclose something. But, the opposition party is going to dig into your background, goddammit. So, that became a little bit of a mess. So, following a tense standoff between the two nations, the two presidents, one of the United States and one of Colombia. So he had to basically give him a little threat. You don't take your people back that illegally migrated to our country. They blocked the airport so that they couldn't land. So they're flying around, and meantime, the president's on the phone with the president of the country, says, clears your airport, so that we can land and dispose of these. You can put them right in your own jail. So bring a couple of buses. Because we got 2 plane loads of illegal aliens that claim they're from Colombia. So how about it? Do whatever you got to do. We don't want them back. You can't just drop off an airplane, in a foreign country and have them walk out of your plane, into oblivion. They usually are escorted by, the Colombian police, if you will, and they put them in a bus and, transport them to the jails, the Colombian jails, prison yards, whatever, fenced-in area. Yeah, we're going to empty out our plane and then take off immediately and get the hell out of there. And come back here and pick up another plane load, dump them back in Colombia, in Medellin or wherever. Now there are a bunch of refugees allowed back into northern Gaza Strip, which has largely been blown up. So those refugees, are going to be, creating a tent city in Gaza because a lot of that stuff was blown up because of the tunnels that the bad guys have dug underneath, the whole Gaza area. There's the wires. I didn't use that one. I made this one up. Yeah, which I basically got from here, and then cut off the copper ends because we don't want any copper. We just want the clean insulation on all 3 of those wires. Wrap them separately. That'll prevent his scooter from shutting down. There's apparently some water and dirt got in that tape. So now he's going to have to go in there and actually get to the 3 wires and wrap them separately. Snip them clean so there's no copper visible. No conductor. Yeah. You can see in here with these pictures, there's some pictures of the scale of Marilyn's weight last week. I have her weigh in every couple of weeks. She lost a beautiful amount of weight. She's looking pretty slim and snazzy now. You can fit into a whole new wardrobe closet. Yeah, she really put on a lot of weight. Well, it's all gone now. We've been on Ozempic or Wegovy. Semaglutide. A couple of milligrams of semaglutide once a week. And it manages your blood sugar, controls your diet, so you don't really feel hungry. Just got to make sure you eat healthy and have the right vitamins, minerals, and supplements. A new pair of shoes I got, white soles. Yeah. what do you call it? Rubio went on a trip. He's in Panama. There it was a couple of days ago. So he's shaking them up with, Trump's, hail that he's going to take the Panama Canal back. It was given, I think, by quite a while ago. Trying to think of the president that gave that away. I think it was given away by the peanut farmer. Well, Rubio is in the Panama Canal, seeing what's going on with the fees and so forth that are assessed to the different ships, and apparently we're being mistreated over our cargo, the U.S. cargo ships that go through, or the military ships are being, billed a huge amount of money compared to other people. So Rubio went down there to inspect the books and records of the Panama Canal. And so, as soon as his cabinet people get, in their positions, they're taking charge of what they're supposed to do. And Rubio's already got his first trip, into the Panama. So, and Trump has, threatened, with the Panamanian government. He's put them on notice that let's just get squared away. We're going to put 10,000 or so troops in Panama to secure our property, because we're going to take it back, because you're not living up to the bargain. The bargain is we'll give it to you and we get favorable passage. Well, we've handed it over to them, and we're not even being treated equally. We're being mistreated as to the fees and access to the canal. The canal has, important and serious implications with regard to our naval ships that pass through the canal, because they don't want to go all the way down around the tip of South America. You go through the Panama Canal. That's why it was created back, 30 years ago. So that's what that picture is all about. That's just before he got approved. Yeah, it's always a mess. One more senator bailed out on that, he would have not been confirmed. And of course, if you don't have the vote, and you got these nose counters that call everybody and make sure they're on board with a vote in the affirmative. And if not, they withdraw the candidate and they put another one there. So they had someone else, backing up an unnamed person in case something happened with this confirmation. But they got 50 senators to go along with it, and 3 of them bailed out on the Higgs. So that's the hardest vote we've had so far. Oh, here, I wanted to show you this page. Here we go. So this is a list of all our cabinet positions, 18 of them that make up the cabinet. You know, there are other positions here like the head of the FBI and the head of the CIA and all that. So, you know, they're not cabinet level positions. They're certainly important ones. And they do require confirmation, but they're not on this list because this, you notice, Secretary of Labor, Secretary of Commerce, of Agriculture. You know, number 7 is Attorney General. She's important, but they wanted to get, you know, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, and Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, because those 3 positions have a lot to do with our border, you know, and the agencies that are underneath the supervision of the Secretary of Homeland Security, for example. You know, that has everything to do with the border and the ICE agents and all that. They all report up through the Secretary of Homeland Security. So you got, you know, I think the Secretary of the Treasury coming up this week. You know, Wednesday and Thursday of this week. So today is a travel day for the Senate, in theory. And then tomorrow, you know, the Senate works through the backgrounds of these upcoming, you know, people for confirmation. And then Wednesday, there'll be several of them up for the confirmation vote. And then Thursday also, there are 3 others that would be coming up for a vote. So you get 5 this week. And then, you know, then you have 5 next week. And so that's 10. So the green dot to the left of the number means that they're confirmed and, you know, sworn in. So now this week we wait for another group. I think the Secretary of Health and Human Service, Robert F. Kennedy, he'll be, you know, like a steak in the frying pan. The Democrats are going to be all over Robert F. Kennedy for things he said, you know, in the past. He hasn't had, you know, he's the surviving son of Robert F. Kennedy Sr., who was assassinated, and of course, John F. Kennedy was assassinated, who was President of the United States at one point. He got shot by some body in Texas. Well, all those papers are unlocked. So, in theory, you're going to have the media reading through all that documentation. And maybe during this week, we're going to get there'll be some headline news about what, you know, what we think of the papers that were just, I think the process has been declassified. So they've been declassified by the presidential decree. So he signed an executive order declassifying all the business with the John F. Kennedy assassination, all the documentation regarding the Robert F. Kennedy assassination, and one other. So that news should come. We should hear something about that, later this week. I haven't heard any rumors or, conversations that have been documented, testimony, whatever. Trump is energizing his support group with no tax on tips. You're allowed to keep all of your tip money, and you do not have to report anything about your tips. Trump reiterates in a recent speech, went to Arizona and gave a big speech a couple of days ago, no tax on tips. That's a big deal. Because they got two of the largest casinos, in the world, or country, for sure. So, and no tax on Social Security. If that don't get you off the couch to vote, nothing will. Because now you're talking some serious money. We get about $60,000 a year in Social Security benefits. 60,000, 60. And a tax on that, and then income, that's 15-20% of 60,000. That's 20% of 60,000 is $12,000 in tax liability. No tax on Social Security removes a $12,000 expense when I go to file our tax returns, every year on TurboTax. So, whenever I guess he's signed executive orders on that. So I should, TurboTax I should be able to just take those Social Security voucher things and take them off my TurboTax return. No, they're going to take that through Congress. But I think in the meantime, the executive, the EO, executive order, that'll probably suffice for hopefully this year's tax return. We don't want it effective next year. We want it effective this year, 2025. So then the Trump team is going to have to, get this economy, running. Drill baby drill. Start issuing permits, and so all the ICE officials are, applauding the fact that Trump has got their backs, which is in sharp contrast to how they were treated under the Obama. They were like, bums in the Obama. I'm sorry, not Obama, in the Biden administration. Maryland, a couple of days ago, called him Biden. Obama. Biden. Oh, boy. All right, so we want to Why post? Let's look at the covers. See if this will. We want New York Post. I'm not doing this right. Let's see what happens. Yeah, there's no such page. Okay. Darn it. Then Y P O S T C O V E R S. I have a tab for this. I'm not a robot. New York Post covers. Alright, so I pick it. So January 2025. Submit. There we go. Let's get this one right here. So here's the latest cover. Regarding the illegal aliens. New tariff in town. Called Trump. There you go. So I do a print screen of that. These are my photo files. There we go. Done. Save the photos. Okay. Back button. Here's a nice one. The Iceman cometh. Yeah. ICE. Immigration officers. They're going to be rounding up these guys, cuffing them, and putting them in detention. Waiting in line for them to get on their airplane and get the hell out of here. And we're not going to give them the cell phone on the way out of the bus. They don't get squat. No. All right, so now you can see how I get the covers from the New York Post. Here's all the January ones. They get the fires in California. You can see all these. Is this in a full court mess? Yep. New York Post has a very gifted people that come up with these covers. It's a 25-page, newspaper that's printed every day. So here's January 11th, Saturday, gives you the weather, snow, 36 degrees. Late City Final Edition, $2. So this is, Trump is sitting there with his attorney. And the big hush money trial, that was ridiculous. He classified $130,000 that was paid to Stormy Daniels when she signed, a non-disclosure agreement. She took the 130, and then a few years later decided to just forget the non-disclosure agreement. Just go ahead and bring all this out in the open, which he denies. And no one's got photographs, so it's he said, she said. I'm looking at the rest of these covers. All right, so we're done with that. Oh, let's see if those covers came through here yet. The interesting thing about the Apple products is, in my, whoops. So now you can, well, you can't see them yet. They'll be coming up. They should come up soon. I've got them in my photo library, but it'll go around to all the Apple devices, so you don't have to copy them and send them around to your devices. All of the photo albums update each other all the time, so you can capture an image in this iPad, and it will go to that iPad. It'll go to this iPad, it'll go to the phone, and it'll go to my computer. So that's 5 different devices, and this I have an iPad on the cocktail table in the living room, an 11-inch iPad Pro. So it'll end up getting these pictures also. Apple billed me twice. So I got a message here. You can't see it. It says you got 97,334 photos and videos. You need to back that up with the iCloud. But you need to upgrade your service to the 2 terabyte level, which I'm going to do. Subscribe to iCloud. They charge me $30 a month for 6 terabytes. Who the hell needs 6 terabytes? So subscribe. Sign in. That did it. Yeah, thought I did that. Oh, crap. I'm waiting for it to say, okay. I'm signing up for it. $10 a month. Yeah, absolutely. Family sharing, we want that. Share with family. Yes. All right. Anyway, I'll do this on my own time, and I'll let you guys go. And been chatting here for an hour and a half. Covered a few topics, and I will check in with you tomorrow. Is Tuesday. You know, aside from any unusual internet problems, I should be, ready to go by 9 or 9:15. So you all have a nice day. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Remember, this is a simulcast with Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and Twitter Live. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.